Hello, friends and neighbors. What we're going to do today is we are going to add the very top row of stars. Because I had to put a name for it on my file, and I called the other one the row of stars, this has to be shooting stars. You can kind of see behind me how it's finished out, but we're going to talk about how we did that, how to do that. So what you're going to need today is a strip of your background fabric. Now, the width of the row of stars that we just sashed and we're working on is 52.5 inches. So that's going to basically be the width of our quilt. We might do a border down the side. So, okay, 52.5 inches. So you can cut a 6.5 inch strip, 52.5 inches. Or what I did, because I'm trying to do this all with AccuQuilt, I used my value die that had cut a bunch of white before, so I had a lot of white 4.5 inch squares. I had cut some white 2.5 inch strips. So I put those two together and made a rectangle that was 4.5 by 6.5. Now that was because I'm doing it solely with the AccuQuilt as much as I can. So, but you can cut one strip of your background fabric. Now I ended up doing 36 inches because I wanted the background fabric to just stay with my star flow that I had been playing with there. So you will need that strip. The next thing, and because of that, we added filler blocks on the side. So then we're going to need stars. Oh, if you use the 4.5 inch and 2.5 inch like I did, I had 9 of them. So we're going to cut with our AccuQuilt 3 large stars, 2 medium stars, and 8 small stars. Now I cut the large out of a 4.5 inch square that we had cut on the value die. I picked 3 colors. Then the 2 medium also was a 4.5 inch square because I had them, because I had cut a bunch of them. And then 8 small squares, which are 2.5 inch squares. So you are going to need 5 4.5 inch squares of a print and 8 2.5 inch squares of a print. And also light Steam-A-Seam 2, which I'll show you in a minute. Okay, so the first thing we need to do, prepare our fabric, prepare our supplies, figure out what background we're going to put it on, one long strip or a bunch of small ones. And then the next step will be to take our print fabric, not our background fabrics, but our print fabrics, and iron the Steam-A-Seam, fuse the glue to the back of those prints so we can cut them out. So then the next step will be running them through the AccuQuilt. And then we get to play on the design wall of how we want to put them up. You do not have to put them up like I did. You might have a better picture in your mind of how you want those appliqued stars to be. It's Raw Edge Applique. Now I plan to stitch around mine because I just like that little extra security. But according to the company, it'll hold up through the wash. Other people have said they hold up through the wash. I've always sealed my edges if I didn't traditionally applique. I've always stitched the edges either with a zigzag or whatever. But this time I think I'll just do a straight inch around stitch around each star. So anyway, let's get on with fusing the Steam-A-Seam to the back of our print fabrics. Hi, now I'm standing here at my ironing table and I'm going to take care of the fusing with the Steam-A-Seam. Now I've read the directions and I recommend you doing that too. Each product has slightly different directions. Now this one tells me to steam the raw fabric first to get any sizing out of it. So I'll do that. And then this has a drawing side where you can draw a design on before you cut. And then wax paper type, the paper lined fusible side. And when you lift off this one, it's kind of sticky here. So, no, sorry. You lift this one off and it's sticky on this paper side that's got the grid on it. So what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna steam my pieces that I have laid out that we're gonna, that we will fuse to our white or to our background blocks. Then I'm going to lay out as best I'm not going to cut this. I'm not going to cut this. Normally you might cut it first so that it fits the fabric that you're going to fuse. But I have so many little pieces. I'm going to lay them all over and try to be very careful to not let any of the glue peek out. Okay, let's see how I do it. Move this out of the way. Okay, so this is one of the pieces that came out of that Steam-A-Seam package. Now I'm gonna lay this on, it's sticky. I feel it's pretty sticky on this. I don't want too much overhang because my star just fits on this, but I don't want any of the glue to show through. So now I'm gonna butt this up against it and lay it down. Make sure it's tacky over here. Yes, it is. So that is laying down. So I can do my 5 pieces like this. Well, maybe I'll do 4 and put some on the end. Now you're probably thinking, oh no, she's gonna get some of that glue on her iron, but I'm not. So don't you worry, I'm gonna protect my iron. That overlapped enough. I think it'll be okay. I have a practice star over here, so I can see, will it be able to go on? Oh yeah, it'll easily go on the AccuQuilt. Okay, let's butt up some of our 2.5-inch pieces here. We're trying to use everything that we can without cutting this up, but it looks like we'll have to cut a little bit off. Do you see this overhang here? It's sticky. It's got glue on it. So let me press these down really good. And then I'm going to trim this away. That's what you want to make sure, is that you trim away anything. Slip my glasses back on. Anything that might touch your iron or your ironing surface. I'm holding I should use my paper scissors. So if you get paper scissors, these are so tough, I think they'll be okay. So let's just cut these glue bits off. And then this glue bit down. Smooth this out. Make sure it's pressed down good. Now, according to the directions, after I do this, I could just put it, tossing these so they don't fall off little bits. According to the directions, I could just do the AccuQuilt now, but I'm not super secure, so I'm just going to do a light, I'll say sealing of it, getting it down good. So that is attached. Lightly attached, and because there's paper on it, I'm leaving that paper on. Now let me cut these apart. So I have a few stars, so I need to do these, and I'll go ahead and stop the video. I'll do those, and I'll meet you over at the AccuQuilt to cut our stars. Just one more tip. Because I used some leftover bits that I had of my Steam-A-Seam, there are edges showing that have the glue. So I put them down, and the backing that we tore off of our main sheet so that we could use the glued paper works perfectly. It's kind of like a parchment paper, a grease-proof paper. And then you can press and it won't get on your iron, and yet the heat will go through and penetrate down to the fabric and glue. So you can see it kind of stuck in places, but it just pulls off. This one pulled right off. There's a little sticky here, so I think if I just rub my finger over it, and it rolled up in that little ball, and I can throw that part away. Okay, I'm getting ready to go cut stars. So before we start cutting on the AccuQuilt, I just wanted to mention here, if you don't have an AccuQuilt or you don't have the star die, you can still use the steam seam too. What I did, I have some just fused to this piece of fabric. So what you will do now, after you've got all of it fused like we did at the fusing station, on the gridded side, you can use a template that you print off of the internet, but you can draw a star on here and then physically with your scissors cut your stars out. It will take longer, but it's kind of a smooth, sweet project to sit when you want to be calm. So you still can do the row of stars even if you don't have this template. Remember, you have this much, and you can just draw on this side of the fusible before you finish it out. So you fuse your fabric to it just like I did just in the fusing video, and then you draw on the back and hand cut out with scissors your design. Doesn't have to be stars. Maybe you have a bunch of flowers you want to put up there on one of your dies, or you just want to do some other design, some birds. So you choose, but we are using the stars because that's the template I'm using for this quilt. Okay, just wanted to pop in and say that. Okay, we have our star die here. I'm not sure the camera can pick up where I've outlined it. Yeah, you can see that. Okay, and I have all of what I prepared with the steam seam. So what I want to do, I want to cut 3 big stars, 2 medium stars, and how many did I figure out? I want to say 8 small stars. I'll figure that out for sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, yeah, 8 smaller ones. So what you'll notice, I'm going to grab my other scissors here for a minute. What you'll notice is the 4.5-inch square fits pretty good. The point of the star is here, and it fits just above the point of that star. But I also want a medium. I want 2 mediums. So because the AccuQuilt can cut 4 layers, this one I think is set for 6 layers, but let's say 4 layers. Remember that your fusible acts as 1 layer. So when I put 2 here, I have 4 layers. So I'm going to put 2 there and 2 on my little star. The 2.5-inch squares fit perfectly on the little star. But just because I have time and I don't have to worry, I'm going to not do the middle star yet because some of this overlaps a little bit and I don't want to worry about the overlap. So we have that. Let me get my mat. Put the mat on the top. Turn it and let's go. Remember, there's static. You want to spin it while it's pushing down, and then you can lift it up. Well, it lifted all up anyway. So we have our large stars, and when we peel the back off, we can stick and then press them onto our background. I have 2 little threads that wanted to catch here. See if these paper scissors will snip that. Yeah, there we go.
Okay, so I have 2 of those and I have 2 of these. Come on, paper. So those are ready, and I won't peel the back off them until I'm ready to stick them on the paper. Okay, let's do some more. There's one. Oh, wait, these were 2. These were for my mediums. So you can sort whichever fabric you want, and I can't see, will it do a medium and a little one at the same time? I don't think so, even if I shift it a little to cover that point. Are all of these points covered? Well, doggone, they sure are. Let's see if we can do 2 mediums and 2 small at the same time. Look at there, it did, it fit. I got my 2 mediums and I got 2 smalls that I may or may not want to use. Now, I don't want you to throw these away. These can be used, and maybe I'll do a video sometime about making a collage with these because it can make such pretty collages. Uh-oh. This one I missed the point, so we'll have to see if I use it. I'm not sure. Oh, and that one missed the point. Let me do the rest of my baby stars because I've done all the big ones that I need. Let's get those 2 going through. Make sure we get all the points in there. Those are pretty good. I'm going to toss those in my little bin over here that I save all my bits for, so that at a later time, maybe in another project, I can put them together in a collage of sorts. Just remember, even if you can cut more of fabric, you have to count your fusible as a fabric. Okay, that's all our stars. Let's put them on the fabric. Okay, I'm standing here at my design tablecloth and we're going to put our stars up. Now, I do want to make a comment. I had told you at the beginning that one of your options was to cut one long 6.5-inch strip of your background fabric. But because I'm trying to do everything using just the AccuQuilt, that I have those 2 dies, value die, 2.5-inch square die, and the star die, I took my 4.5-inch pieces and sewed them to my 2.5-inch. So let's see how we go. I just did it in pieces so that I could put the stars up and we could play with it. Now, when you are going to put it on, you see your paper still on, just kind of pull that paper off. If you kind of bend it, well, the little pin trick will work too. But because it has that sticky feel, I can kind of stick it before I actually do it. I want to put a yellow one at the top. Now, with, remember your 1/4-inch seam is here, so you want to put it at least 1/2 inch down. I'm not sure you can see that, but you get the idea. So let me take the paper off this one, and let's stick this one just a little bit below. I have in my mind that I want to swoop it like that. Just swoop it down and around. I don't know if that will work, but let's see. So I have my big ones. I think I will put this one up just a little higher. I may have to put my other piece of fabric on next to it. Okay, so you kind of get the idea. If you had done a 6.5-inch strip, you wouldn't have to put it in pieces. But let's see, I'm planning to sew these together. You sew them on. Now, according to a lot of people, you don't have to do that extra step of stitching them. But I just feel better about just going around the edge, just, an 1/8, 1/4 inch in, little bit in, and then I feel more secure. So let's put these up here and see what we've got. I may have to reposition them because you have a 1/4 inch seam allowance here and you don't want to cut off your points. You can do them all scrappy, or like me, I like to match. I try to put them in the same. So you can kind of see how I've positioned them in a little swirl above my row of stars. So you can put them on any way you want, but if this is the way you want, I just kind of tried to, and I might readjust a little bit, have my stars look more like they're kind of in a line. I like the way these look more lined up. So I'll play with it on that side. This one here is the one that I missed the point. So I'll have to sort that out, what I want to do there. So now I'm going to go. Now we have our top row of stars all set up. My next step is to take that fabric down and press it securely. It's just a little sticky, like a contact paper or something. And it's stuck to the fabric, so I can take it down now and press it, and that will make it permanently on the fabric. So according to some people, you don't have to do anything more after that. But I am going to take the time and stitch around each star. So I'll come back and show you. My plan is at the end here to take some 2.5-inch strips and sew 3 together just to finish out that row, and it will kind of frame our top row of stars. Hi, I'm back at the ironing table. All of my stars have been stuck on. Now, remember, they're a little sticky when you're tacking them, so you can take them off and reposition them how you feel. I think I came up with how I want it. So now, according to the directions, we need to press each spot for 20 seconds. So let's do that. And it says have it on whatever temperature your fabric can handle. So since it's cotton, I still just have it on medium. 1, 2. You can count, you can time it, whatever. You just want to make sure that that glue has melted into your base fabric. So our base fabric is the white. We are just making sure that we do it for 20 seconds. Now I'm not going to make you sit with me this whole time. In fact, I may either fast forward or delete this next section, so you won't have to sit here every 20 seconds with me. Them all on there, good. So let me stick it back up on the design board, the design wall, the design tablecloth, and see how it looks.
Okay, we now have our strip. It's 36 inches long, and our stars are ironed to it, fused to it. So now they are part of the fabric. They won't come off generally. And now it's not long enough to go from end to end. Now I can add some more white on the end if I want to have cut a longer strip. Our finished row of stars that we have up there on that design tablecloth is 52 inches. Finishes at 52 inches. It's probably right now 10, 20, 30, 40, 52 and a half. So because of the 1/4 inch seam allowance on each side to allow for the border or the binding. So we want to put this on top of that. So we need it to reach. So what I've done years ago, I took a class with Loretta Bliss from Kaiser, Oregon. I think she's still there. And she talked about filler blocks. Like if you just need to go a little bit more, make a strip of stripes of all of your fabrics. That way, then you can fill in here and there, and it kind of follows a pattern, a theme of fabric through if you strategically fill in. Now for me, and you can make it be a checkerboard, you can make it be whatever, but I just did these 3 strips. One is a partial strip because it wasn't long enough because I cut so much off the end. So I am going to add this to the end of my stars for about the extra 8 inches or so. So I'll cut it a little bigger, sew it onto the end, press it out, and then see how it matches with that row and trim off. So go ahead and make your filler, or if you want to have cut your initial strip a full 52 and a half inches, that will work too. So this one is 36 inches, and then I've put my stars on it. So now I need to add to each end so it matches that row. Okay, so go play with that, and we'll meet back. So I hope you had fun with that. You can see behind me that I've already finished out my row and sewed it on. I'm going to put a picture up here so you can see. Now I thought it was a little plain, so I decided to top it off with with my darkest strip, which is the green strip on top. So I cut a two 2.5 inch strips, the length of the fabric, the width of the fabric with my AccuQuilt, and I sewed them together. And you see there's some hanging off because I actually haven't sewn it to the pattern yet. But those 2 rows, this row of stars and the shooting row of stars, the top row of stars, are sewn together and ready to go on to the next step. So I hope you enjoyed it, and we will meet back maybe in 2 weeks because I have some plans to go visit my daughter in Oregon. And so we will come back, and next time we're going to talk about blender rows. Isn't that an interesting term? Okay, I'll see you next time. Bye.